Hello. First video we're gonna watch or react to is Muujin's How a Massive VTuber Corp is Trying to Hide a Predator, which this is about Aster or something. It's like you know, like a Peter Parker name. It's like a first name, a last name or something. I only know the first name Aster. And Aster's a VTuber from Nijisanji EN branch.
Fall of this company ever since the beginning of this year has been unprecedented. It's hard to believe that back in June 2022,
I think they've been going downhill since Selen Totsuki was terminated.
$1.2 billion. Yes, you heard that right. Billion. 1.2 billion. And yes, we're talking about a VTuber corporation. It's crazy. But the company has since then lost more than half
Jesus,
of their
look at that dip.
value. And what's even worse for investors is that there
That's
is
crazy.
zero hope for recovery. The downfall of Nijisanji started in the beginning of 2024, back around February, when it turned out that one of their beloved talents tried to evaporate her soul out of her body, if you get what I mean, mainly due to the very toxic work culture at Nijisanji. This was a very big shock because prior to this, Nijisanji was seen as one of the top VTubing agencies on the planet. No one saw this.
I don't remember if they had any other controversies before then.
Toxic they were internally though, because instead of apologizing, Nijisanji put up some of their top VTubers to do a black screen stream, pretty much blaming the VTuber who almost lost their life and getting massive hate for it. This was truly the beginning of the end for Nijisanji, and they have screwed up so many times throughout this year that I had to create a playlist full of videos of them doing dumb shit. But even with all that, we've never truly reached a point
it should be better.
like the one we found ourselves in today. A VTuber currently working for Nijisanji decided to reach out to Fallside in order to leak the fact that there's currently a predator within Nijisanji's ranks and that they are covering for him. There are many victims here, both inside and outside of Nijisanji, and the stakes have never been higher. We need to talk about this, so let's do it. So Aster Arcadia is a male VTuber that's part of Nijisanji's English branch. Nijisanji will introduce new VTubers in waves, that's part of Nijisanji's English branch. Nijisanji will introduce new VTubers in waves, and Aster was part of the Aluna wave alongside 5 other VTubers. They debuted in summer 2022. Back in February of 2024, as the disaster surrounding Selen was happening, Raziel Warmonic, who used to be a moderator of Luca Kaneshiro, a massive Nijisanji English VTuber, put out a tweet saying not to add fuel to the fire, but since I was close to a member of Nijisanji for a long time, I am absolutely not surprised it's starting to crumble.
Oh yeah, wait, he's talking about like that document that this person
vented to about
released on. There was like a mention of Aster in the document. Nobody even mentioned or nobody even remembered up until this controversy came out.
A male member from Aluna, sorry, I can't remember which, this was a voice convo from over a year ago, that was harassing and guilt-tripping new girls to the point that other members would go quiet or exclude them from their voice chats. Yet management apparently did nothing and the members themselves had to self-regulate. She then added, I just got confirmation from another individual. It was Aster. I will not name who told me this.
That was kind of just swept under the rug.
There were 3 male
honestly.
members in Aluna, and she had confirmed that she was talking specifically about Aster. Nijisanji was already under a lot of fire. This was definitely fuel to the fire. A day later, on 4chan, DMs between Aster and Scarla leaked. Scarla is another well-known VTuber, also part of the Aluna wave, debuting with Aster. This conversation was painful and awkward to read. Aster was bickering about voice chat etiquette, and Scarla did not know how to respond except for saying sorry repeatedly. Scarla did not know how to respond except for saying sorry repeatedly. Saying, Aster, I'm sorry. I'm just overwhelmed by everything. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I forget everything. I'm just overwhelmed by the messages. I don't know what to say to you. That's why I didn't respond right away. I'm not ignoring you. I just don't know what to say. I'm sorry. There was also another conversation in which she says, I'm sorry, Aster, I keep making you feel this way, with him replying, I mean, is that it? Like, what else do you want, man?
Aster does seem pretty pushy right here. Look, my intention isn't even to hurt you. Why would I? My intention is to let you know what has been bothering me. Like, that's okay, but you're kind of like pushing. Am I not gonna get a response to this? So now I'm being ignored for saying how I feel. She just said she doesn't know what to say. Like, give her some time. Some people need like thinking time to think about what they're gonna say. I'm like exactly the same way. or something before I make a response.
She's apologizing. And then within the span of 30 minutes, he
That's
kept
why I'm like
pushing
quiet all the
over
time,
and
because
over
I'm
and over,
always
not getting a
constantly
reply and
thinking
saying,
about what to
seriously,
say.
so you're purposefully ignoring me? It was clear that this DM leak was trying to make him look bad, right? Because all Scarla was doing was apologize and he wasn't letting it go. It was certainly matching the description that Raziel had provided about Aster, guilt-tripping new girls and even harassing them. Knowing that this was 4chan though, many people were concerned that these were just fake. I mean, who's gonna leak this? Scarla? That would be an easy way for her to get fired. And Aster? Why would he make himself look bad? But then something weird happened. On the same day those 4chan messages leaked, both Aster and Scarla posted matching hearts at the same exact timestamp. Right after this, they proceeded to stream together, completely unprompted, right? Typically, they post weekly schedules telling their viewers what they're going to do on their channels. This was not announced. This had happened all of a sudden on the same day. This made some people suspicious. Like, why would you go this far to do all these things right after the messages leaked on 4chan? Are you trying to hide something? Did Nijisanji put you up to this to try and hide the fact that you guys have a terrible relationship? It smelled fishy, but there was not enough proof to really conclude anything, so people moved on. That was, of course, until April 2024, when Raziel, who was Luca Kaneshiro's Xmod, posted a 58-page document detailing her experience with him and how he was entitled, exploitative, and abusive towards her, as well as other members within Nijisanji. This is where, on page 55, she would include this bombshell under allegations. Here's what she had to say. Aster Arcadia harassing other coworkers. I can confirm that Luca Kaneshiro said that multiple girls were coming to him about the issue since management wouldn't do anything, and he discussed it with both Illyra and I. Illyra being Illyra Pandora, another Nijisanji English VTuber. She then continues. I personally told him to gather as much evidence as possible and bring it to management since it shouldn't be there, Luca's and Illyra's job, to regulate this issue. To my understanding, nothing was done about it. She also showed a message that was sent to her by a Nijisanji English VTuber saying, to help you with clarity, I remember that incident, it was Aster. This was back during February 7th when Raziel had tweeted about the fact that someone from Aluna was harassing and guilt-tripping new girls. When she said, I just got confirmation from another individual that it was Aster, she was referring to that VTuber who had DM'd her on Twitter. This, of course, was a very serious accusation, but people were mostly focused on Luca Kaneshiro being a weirdo in these 58 pages rather than really pursuing this, because other than this random Twitter DM, we didn't really have concrete proof. And besides, people were more interested with how Luca beat his meat in VR chat without Raziel's consent anyway. I mean, the shock value from that alone was crazy. It made people slowly forget about the Aster allegations on December 6, 2024. That was the day that Fallside had published this video titled Exclusive. Nijisanji English VTuber speaks out against Nijisanji English Live.
I didn't watch this video.
Something
I don't watch False.
unprecedented. A Nijisanji VTuber had reached out to him from within the company
False. I
to
just
tell
don't
him
watch
that
his
yes,
videos.
Aster Arcadia is a serial harasser. This was the same Nijisanji English VTuber who had messaged Raziel and told her, I remember that incident, it was Aster. Also sharing some never-before-seen DMs she had sent Raziel, like, a lot of people waited for you to tell the truth for a while because it had been an issue, so I'm happy you finally did. Do not worry about those that are sending hate. This truth in the long run will help so many people. He then shared messages of that Nijisanji English VTuber venting back in September about Aster's behavior, saying, when I had a mental breakdown and went to Twitch, it was because Aster was saying like he wants to fly me out to Japan, saying weird sexual shit, sex pesting my friends. I went to management, they wouldn't even speak to him. I was really considering graduating. They were really considering leaving the company over this, but their manager talked them out of it. They then said, because it feels gross to me, like I feel like I'm hiding his behavior, because it's not just me, it's many girls. A lot of my friends. Also adding that Nijisanji was too scared to take any action because they didn't want more bad PR after everything that had happened this year. The name of this Nijisanji VTuber, who is a victim of Aster Arcadia, wasn't revealed in this video. Now, obviously, there were people doubting the source of information, saying, why would you want to censor the name? Revealing it would add so much more weight to these accusations. But in order to understand that, we have to, yet again, go back to 4chan. A little while ago, a bunch of different messages leaked on 4chan between that one Nijisanji English VTuber who had reached out to Fallside and a handful of their friends. Some of these messages were from that VTuber stream chat, but the majority were from Discord DMs. There were some morbid revelations, like how this VTuber was straight up in debt because Niji had withdrawn all the VTuber model costs and the equipment costs from their salary. So after a long time being there, they still have not gotten a proper salary, barely affording to eat. Truly an incredible company to work at. But what these logs allow us to do is to cross-reference the messages shown in Falside's video to the messages here. For example, if we take the message he wants to fly me out to Japan.
Law schools give me very strong standards of proof. Yeah. Like from what I know that they're showing, they're only showing like the messages between the person accusing and the other people that they're talking to about it. They haven't like exposed any of the actual messages between Aster and them.
And we find it right here following the same timestamp that was shown in the Discord logs.
Show me a little more proof.
I have no idea who leaked this, but these logs paint a very dark picture about the worries this VTuber had of even revealing this information to the public. Look, the topic of Aster came up multiple times in these conversations, and at some point, one of the friends of this Nijisanji English VTuber wanted them to expose the harassment that they had endured from Aster to the public. They expressed shock when the VTuber was reluctant, saying, "I thought they don't fucking fire people? Like I was under the impression it literally can't happen." With the Nijisanji VTuber then saying, "If you do something bad enough." The friend said, "But you are unironically a victim. Fuck them, you did nothing wrong at all. Why are we even scared? They treat you like shit. Some creep harasses you. You get fired? Question mark? Make that make sense." With the VTuber saying, "That's why it's 50-50. They either ignore it or fire me." So this Nijisanji English VTuber actually loves being a VTuber, and they don't want to get fired.
It's believable that they would fire
job for this, and they don't have anything else they can do at the moment. If Falside had irresponsibly leaked their name, their identity, then Nijisanji would have terminated them, well, immediately, and Aster would have gotten away with it anyway. It's counterproductive, and this is why I won't leak it either. So look, even with the VTuber wanting to keep their job, the friends of the VTuber were seeing this injustice unfold, and they couldn't just not do anything about it. They wanted the Nijisanji VTuber, their friend, to get their justice. This is why they reached out to Falside. Here we can see a conversation with one of the VTuber's friends and Falside. This was Falside's first contact with this group of people. They agreed on a time to call and then went ahead and did it. During the call, the VTuber's friend showed him all the screenshots of the past logs we just saw, of them talking about Aster and the harassment they had to endure for a very long time. The call lasted 1 hour. On November 11th, the Nijisanji English VTuber who was harassed by Aster had reached out to Falside and added them on Discord, saying, "Hey, thanks for accepting my request. Blank told me he sent you some things, and I was wondering if you'd be able to have a call with me." This is referring to the friend of the VTuber that Falside had called for an hour. And Falside replied with, "Sure, not a problem. What time works for you?" This was when the VTuber would reveal to Falside that Aster had done this not to just them, but to their friends, to multiple people. The VTuber initially thought that maybe he was just bad at communicating, but seeing the fact that he was doing it to so many people at the same time made them understand, okay, no, this guy's actually a creep. And he would vary his creepiness level from person to person. With some people, he would tell them, "Oh man, you should really come to Japan. We could hold hands, sit in the same hotel room, have a great time." And to some others, he would be more inappropriate, mentioning things like how they should be naked together. Additionally, this VTuber had felt really guilty because they had brought one of their IRL friends from outside of Nijisanji to come and play games with them, plus some other friends, and Aster. After a certain period of time, that friend would then also receive inappropriate messages from Aster. The guy was an unapologetic fiend. The VTuber also had shared DMs with Aster. They had streamed League of Legends together, and Aster really didn't like the banter that the VTuber had towards his jungling skills. The reason why this is significant is that due to the style of writing of this message, we can draw a parallel to the style of writing in these messages between Aster and Scarla. This is simply how he talked. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to slowly come together at this point. Aster was manipulative, and he had many different victims to practice his manipulation tactics on. The information provided was already enough to shock the VTubing community to its core. As you might have guessed, things only got worse from here and escalated further.
I feel I need to
Aster
up
had
my
debuted
gaslighting
alongside
skill
two other
level.
male VTubers in the Aluna wave. One of those VTubers was Kyo. The thing with Kyo was that he had graduated around the time the Selen controversy was going on. He was done with the company and left in February of 2024 after his final stream. In March, he went independent and became Quinn Bennett, and has been streaming ever since. However, shortly after debuting at Nijisanji, he had created a podcast series with Aster and another VTuber by the name of Ren. The series was short-lived, ending after 2 episodes. But people didn't really think much of it, assuming they were just busy, and moved on. However, that all changed recently, because very shortly after Falside's video, Quinn tweeted this, saying, "All I'm saying is there's a reason the podcast only lasted 2 episodes." To many,
I feel like I should
this was a
practice a little,
subtweet directed towards Aster. He was blaming Aster for the fact that the podcast ended so quickly. As you can imagine, this was a lot of fuel added to the fire. Quinn then proceeded to add even more fuel by deleting the tweet, making people want to talk about it even more, thinking that he may have gotten in trouble with Nijisanji over this tweet. But then he made another tweet saying this, "Never mind. I feel it's irresponsible to be vague given the circumstances, and to be honest, I want to stay in my own lane. Even if I personally dislike someone, that doesn't give or remove credibility from a third-party story. My opinion wasn't meant to invalidate or validate someone else's experience, which is why I deleted the post. Hope that clears everything up." But by then, the damage was already done. Quinn knew he could just move on from it, so he tweeted out, clearing things up, linking a Twitch stream. The stream was around 27 minutes long, and it was him talking about the situation at length. What he had to say did not in any way make Aster look good. Watch.
To hide this aspect of the puzzle piece. I really don't want to talk about this because if I don't talk about it, I'm seen as protecting a predator. If I do, I'm seen as being messy. So to be honest, I'm going to be as vague as possible. But another reason I didn't like this person is because there were some stories going around and some things I saw where they behaved weird towards women. Okay? Nothing criminal, nothing to the extent of what has recently come out. I didn't like how they seemed kind of like they would like nag certain women about certain things or kind of put them in positions to feel guilty, or pounce on like newer members that were in the company and that didn't know about this behavior. Like they were not the most healthy when they interacted with women. And I'm going to be honest about that. I'm not going to cover it up.
This was interesting because the wording he was using here, guilt tripping, for example, was the exact same wording that was used by Raziel when she spoke about Aster. This was lining up, but Quinn didn't end it here, obviously. He had way more to say.
Are the interactions between women allegations? I witnessed some of them myself. Okay, I witnessed some of them myself. Some of them happened to some of my friends.
Okay, so we have an eyewitness right now? But technically he can't really say anything because he's not in the company anymore.
But I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say what. I'm just saying I didn't like it. I didn't like it, so I didn't like it.
We do have an outside eyewitness that gives credit to the allegations to an extent, right?
Person, okay? Now, this is bringing me back to my original point. Should you guys even know any of this shit from me? Should I be the one telling you this? Fuck no, okay?
Well, there you have it. Quinn had seen this behavior happen to some of his female friends. But again, this was not everything he had to say. It got worse.
Since everyone is making me feel guilty for maybe covering up abuse or whatever, I will say in my personal, very biased opinion, okay? Take this with like 800 milligrams of sodium, enough for you to like die from sodium overdose. This, unfortunately, based off of what I have seen, does not seem like something that is completely out of character of behavior for this person to potentially do. Like, I could see a universe where this happens, okay, is my point. It's not like I would never, ever see this happening. That's not how I feel, okay? I'm going to be honest with you, all right?
Now, it's really interesting seeing this chat, right? Because obviously he still has a lot of viewers that came from Nijisanji, and many of them are not happy about the fact that he's speaking out about this. And actually don't say that. Bro, you're saying too much. Question mark. Dude, just stop. Seriously. We have this massive allegation going on. He has a perspective that we're lacking right now. Someone who has worked with him directly, who's seen him interact with his friends in a weird, creepy way, and they're asking him to shut up. It's crazy. His last statement here is actually...
I think it's more of like a worry thing because they don't want Nijisanji to go after him, right?
Massive.
So they're telling him to be quiet so he doesn't get in trouble by his previous employer.
If I knew someone and they were being accused of something and I knew for a fact, nah, they're a good person, they would never do that, I would back them up and I'd say, listen, as far as I know, they had never done this around me and I just don't see them doing it. But Quinn had a completely different thing to say, saying, listen guys, I just don't see it as impossible. Like, this kind of aligns with the person I knew. And at this point, with every single instance involving Aster over the last year, Nijisanji can't keep shielding him anymore. We need accountability. One thing that no one was expecting, including myself, is the fact that Nijisanji put out a statement fairly quickly about this, saying, thank you for your continued support of Nijisanji and Nijisanji EN. Regarding the recent controversy, Any Color has determined the following course of action. We have initiated an independent third-party investigation into these issues and will share the outcome with our livers and our community. This investigation will focus on the issues of sexual harassment and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties and will include a thorough review of company
Who's still
policies
supporting them? Well, apparently 500,000 people are still supporting them, so...
and their implementation. Based
like
on the outcome
their
of
stock plummeted. So I'm more surprised they're even still around in the first place.
this investigation, appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken and updated policies will be shared with our livers and our community. Any Color is committed to a safe and community-focused environment free from any type of inappropriate behavior. For all inquiries related to this matter, please contact Any Color.
I kind of feel bad for all the other members that are still in Nijisanji, you know? Not because of, like, Aster. Like, obviously, if what they're alleging is true, that's horrible, and I feel so bad for the people that were affected. But it's also like, Nijisanji is plummeting. Are they even getting any support? Are they getting properly paid like they're supposed to?
Inc. Now, typically when a corporation says a third-party investigation will take place, it doesn't really mean much. If you guys remember, that's what Mr. Beast did with his own company and found himself not guilty. Great. And what worries me here is that not only will they focus on issues...
The difference for Mr. Beast was like, they did like a in-company investigation. Right? They didn't do like a third party.
Issues of sexual harassment, but they'll also focus on unauthorized information leakage to outside parties, which tells me they're probably going to focus on the VTuber who leaked this information rather than Aster Arcadia. We'll see what happens, I guess, but I'm not very optimistic. I can guarantee you though that behind the scenes right now, it is an absolute mess at Nijisanji. After Falside's video had released, Aster immediately set his chat on his channel to subscribers only mode. You need to have been subscribed for at least 24 hours before you can even send messages. He then posted this in his stream chat saying, I will have to postpone the cooking stream, sorry, missing some stuff and setup is complicated, thanks for your understanding. It's currently been delayed by around a week. So he's very well aware of it. Nijisanji has told us that they are aware of this too now. What happens remains to be seen, but there's clear favoritism in Nijisanji, we know this by now, so I'm not very optimistic, but hey, I just hope that the people he harassed can get their peace. If something else happens, I will keep you updated though. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I really appreciate it. See you in the next video. Mwah.
Hey, so thoughts on flying to Japan? I'm considering going to Japan, but not for you, Aster Arcadia. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Original videos in the description. For those on YouTube, thank you very much. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video.